Week 6 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked at off the wire this week. The first guy, Willie Castro of the Minnesota Twins. I feel like every season, Castro, he finds his stride for a little bit for a few weeks, and is a hot pickup on the waiver right now, available in 50% of fantasy leagues, and he plays a lot of positions as well, second, third, short, and outfield he qualifies for. So on the season for Castro, 2 home runs, 12 RBIs, 16 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 287 average, and a 350 on base. His specialty, stealing bases and scoring run, and a decent average, even though the last 2 weeks he's been white hot. 1 home run, 9 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 10 runs scored, a 426 average, and a 446 on base. A Castro, like I said, qualifies a lot of positions. He's definitely a base stealer. That's his specialty. Last season, 33 stolen bases. And right now, he's playing good baseball. So if you need stolen bases and batting average, that's where he's going to help. April 30th at the White Sox, 1 for 3, a run, an RBI. May 1st at the White Sox, 3 for 5, a run, an RBI, a stolen base. May 3rd versus the Boston Red Sox, 2 for 3 with 2 runs. And May 4th versus the Red Sox, again, 2 for 4, a run, and an RBI. So right now, 3 games in a row with multiple hits. He's scoring runs, like I said, and he's going to steal the bases. I know he's batting 7th or 8th usually in this lineup for this Minnesota Twin team, but he's someone that could get on base and make things happen, and I think he helped fantasy owners this week as well. The next hitter, Andy Pages of Los Angeles Dodgers. So they called them up weeks ago where they found they had a hole in the outfield where Chris Taylor wasn't producing. So Pages' last chance for owners to go out there and get him available in 50% of fantasy leagues. And this guy, he's got it all on the year. 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, 14 runs scored, a 338 average, and a 357 on base. The only thing with him, obviously, he's just a free swinger, but he's only struck out 15 times in 65 at-bats, which isn't all that bad for a rookie here. And when you got great hitters in the lineup protecting you, where you're going to get a lot of fastball counts and favorable counts, where you got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith in this lineup, an all-star lineup for this team. He's just getting pitches to hit, and he's making the most of his opportunity, and now showing power as well over the last few games. So the last few games, April 30th at the D-backs, 1 for 3, a run. May 1st at the D-backs, 1 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. May 3rd versus the Braves, 4 for 5, an RBI. And May 4th versus the Braves, 2 for 5, a homer, an RBI, 2 runs scored. So Page is playing great baseball, starting to show the pop, getting more comfortable every day playing in the major leagues. And even if Jason Hayward comes back sooner than later from the injured list here, I think this Dodger team, they can't bench this kid, hitting over 300 right now. Like I said, I know it's an early sample size, but still, Jason Hayward's at the latter part of his career. And Pages, like I said, is a top prospect for a reason, and he's getting an opportunity and making the most of it. The next day, Josh Smith of the Texas Rangers. So Smith, one of the hottest pickups off the wire this week here. Available still, though, in 60% of fantasy leagues on the season here for Smith. 2 home runs, 15 RBIs, 17 runs scored, a 302 average, and a whopping 407 on base percentage. He's got a good eye in the plate. Obviously, he's in a loaded lineup as well with this Texas Ranger team, where he's going to get a lot of favorable counts, and someone that opposing pitchers aren't really that worried about, even though he's going out there and he's getting on base and he's hitting for good batting average. Bat 6th for this Ranger team. May 1st versus the Nats, 1 for 3. May 2nd versus the Nats, 1 for 3, 2 runs. May 3rd at the Royals, 0 for 4. And May 4th at the Royals, 1 for 4 with a run and an RBI. So Smith, he's making things happen. He qualifies at third, short, and outfield as well, which is very good for fantasy baseball, to have a guy with good versatility, especially at the shortstop position. That's one of the weakest positions in all fantasy baseball. So right now, well, he's hitting great in a good lineup, and he's going to bring, for the most part, batting average, on base percentage, and runs scored. I think I would give Smith an ad this week. The next hitter, Brandon Marsh of the Philadelphia Phillies. So surprising he's still out there in 54% of fantasy leagues here. I've mentioned Marsh a few times so far in the early going. So on the year for Marsh, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, 10 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 265 average, and a 313 on base. So Brandon Marsh, we know he's a hard-nosed player, known for his defense more than his offense, but someone who's going to steal about 10, 15 bases on the year. I think he could hit anywhere from 15, 20 home runs. And also as well, I think the batting average anywhere from 260 to the 280 range. So that's a solid third, fourth outfielder if you play in deep outfielder leagues, or you even a utility hitter. And he's in a lineup as well where he's going to get a lot of good pitches to hit. His Philly team, one of the best teams in the league, and over the last few seasons, they've been one of the best teams in all the National League. So the last few games for Marsh, April 29th at the Angels 0 for 3 in RBI. April 30th at the Angels 0 for 4. May 1st at the Angels 0 for 1. May 3rd versus the Giants 1 for 4, 2 RBIs. And May 4th versus the Giants 1 for 4 with an RBI. So this Philly team, like I said, they're going out there. They're playing great baseball. Won 4 games in a row. In first place in the National League East. So Brandon Marsh playing great baseball, helping this Philly team in a big way. And like I said, as a 4th outfield, even a 3rd outfielder and utility guy for fantasy owners, he can help in multiple categories. Next hitter, Joe Adell of the Los Angeles Angels. So with Mike Trout out with the torn MCL, he's going to have everyday opportunities here as Joe Adell, a former top prospect in this Angel system, available right now in 60% of fantasy leagues. On the season, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 12 runs scored, 6 stolen bases, a 265 average, and a 320 on base. So Adell, he's going to steal bases. He's got caught a few times already as well this season. He's got some decent pop as well, where he was tearing it up in AAA over the last few seasons, but never really got into a groove and an everyday opportunity. But now, like I said, with Trout out and this Angel team, guys just going down like flies, it seems like every year. Adell's getting an opportunity, and he's making the most of it. April 29th versus Philly, 1 for 4 with a homer and RBI. April 30th versus Philly, 1 for 4. May 1st versus Philly, 0 for 5. May 3rd at the Guardians, 0 for 4. May 4th at the Guardians, 0 for 2 with a run and a stolen base. I know the last few games it's been a little bit of a struggle for Adell, but another player getting an everyday opportunity. He's got good upside in my opinion, and he was tearing it up in AAA, so we'll see what he can do in the major leagues here now, is Adell. So if you got a roster spot open with injuries or in your deeper leagues where you play 3-4 utility plays, I think Adell is a good add this week. The next hitter, Tyler Black, the Milwaukee Brewers. So Black called up last week, one of their top prospects in the system. And this Brewer team, it's about a mix of young players and veterans on this roster. Obviously, we saw Jackson Chourio made the roster at opening day, got a big contract. And now a few weeks into the year, Tyler Black called up for this Milwaukee Brewer team, where he did everything he had to in the minor league system. So on the year so far, small sample size, 3 for 15, a run, a stolen base, a 200 average, a 250 on base. A Tyler Black, he's got some pop. He's going to steal some bases, score some runs, and he's batting 3rd so far in the lineup here for this Milwaukee Brewer team. I know Christian Yelich, he's banged up with an injury. Jackson Chourio, he hasn't really lived up so far to what they thought they would get from him. But Tyler Black qualifies at 2nd and 3rd, which is obviously good versatility as well. April 30th versus Tampa, 2 for 4 run. May 1st versus Tampa, 1 for 3. May 3rd at the Cubs, 0 for 3, a stolen base. May 4th at the Cubs, 0 for 5 in that one. So right now with some of these young prospects, you got to wait a few weeks here to see if these guys could go out there and pan out, because sometimes people, they drop these prospects and then all of a sudden they tear it up and someone else picks them up off the waiver wire after a couple weeks. So with these young prospects, as long as they're getting everyday opportunities, I would wait at least 2-3 weeks here to see what you could get, maybe even more out of them. And if they don't produce, then you drop them off. But right now, Tyler Black, he's got upside. Like I said, he's a top 100 prospect in the major leagues. And right now, he's a good add. This week, the next hitter, Brent Brooker of the Oakland Athletics. So Brent Brooker, last season, he showed some pop, and he was off to a monster start in the beginning of the year last year. And he did end with 30 home runs and 60 RBIs. And so far this year, on a good pace again, home run-wise. 8 homers, 20 RBIs. 11 runs scored, a stolen base, a 240 average, and a 329 on base. So this Oakland Athletic team, they've surprised people so far in the early going here this year. I don't know if it's going to keep up. But again, Billy Beane and that small ball and the analytics and all that, he just finds ways to find diamonds in the rough and guys who can produce when you don't expect it. I know the A's the last few seasons haven't done much, but every couple of years, players from the minor leagues into stars, and they're a team that competes for the most part. So right now, Brent Brooker, like I said, a guy last season hit 30 home runs and now starting to get it going over the last few games. Available right now, Brooker, in tons of fantasy leagues, 75%. So the last few games for Rooker, April 29th versus Pittsburgh, 1 for 4 run. April 30th versus the Pirates, 0 for 2, a stolen base. May 3rd versus Miami, 1 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. And May 4th versus the Marlins, again, 3 for 4, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. So this A team, like I mentioned right now, they're playing great baseball, winning 7 games in a row. Rooker, he's been a big part of it, batting cleanup for Oakland. And he's going to get the everyday chance, and we saw what he could do last season. I know low batting average, high K rate, but he did hit the 30 home runs, and that's all you could ask for. A guy getting an everyday opportunity and bringing some pop. and driving in runs. So right now, well, Rookie's getting things going and has 8 homers already this season. He's definitely a good ad this week. The next ad's his teammate Tyler Nevin of the Oakland Athletics, another player coming out of nowhere, one of the hotter pickups off the wire this week. 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, a stolen base, 11 runs scored, a 302 average, and a 378 on base. So a good eye at the plate, good on base percentage, showing some pop. And he qualifies at first, third, and outfield. Great versatility as well. Here's Tyler Nevin, another player getting everyday opportunities, and he's batting second in this Oakland Athletic lineup. April 29th versus Pirates, 2 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. April 30th versus the Pirates, 2 for 3, an RBI. May 1st versus the Pirates, 2 for 4, a homer, an RBI, 2 runs scored. May 3rd versus Miami, 0 for 3. And May 4th versus the Marlins, 0 for 3 with a run. So right now, Nevin doing a little bit of everything. I know you want to see the power and the RBIs go up just a little bit, but on base percentage and by that batting average, he's going to bring in a guy who's just been a hit machine so far over the last couple weeks here, especially before the last 2 0 for 3s, games in a row with multiple hits, is Tyler Nevin. So right now, while he's playing good baseball, and like I said, this A-team playing good baseball, winning 7 in a row, Tyler Nevin definitely an ad this week, and he's available right now. 63% of fantasy leagues. Next hitter is another prospect coming up sooner than later, Junior Caminero of the Tampa Bay Rays. I mentioned Caminero the last couple weeks on the prospect report and someone to watch or stash, and he's available in 60% of leagues. The number 4 prospect in all Major League Baseball, here's Junior Caminero. This guy's got good pop. He's done it all in the minor leagues. Obviously, last season we saw him have a cup of coffee in the major leagues. We had 1 home run, 7 RBIs, 4 runs scored, a 235 average, and a 278 on base. But he's ready to go. And this Tampa Bay Ray team, I don't really know what they're waiting for. I know they got some guys here. Johnny DeLuca plays some outfield, some infield. He came back from injury. You got Curtis Mead, who's playing some decent ball. Palacios, who they moved into the infield, the Caballero. But I think Junior Caminero, the time is now to call this kid up right now. He's hitting 333 in AAA right now. He's got 6 home runs. His on-base percentage is great. OPS is great. And this Ray team definitely could use some bats in their lineup, like I mentioned, where they got some holes in the offense. Obviously, there's injuries as well, where pretty much Isaac Paredes has been their best hitter, where Randy Arozarena has definitely struggled. So right now, Caminero out there in 60% of fantasy leagues. He's a big-time prospect, only 20 years old. So this Ray team right now, they're playing better baseball over the last couple games here, winning the first 2 in the series versus the New York Mets. But I think they could use another bat or 2 in this lineup. And right now, I think Caminero, he could be up any day or any week now for this Ray team. So if you want to stash him on an NA spot, or even if you don't have an NA spot and put him on your bench, he's definitely a good ad this week. Because like I said, he's got major upside and someone to help fantasy owners in a big way. And the final hitter I looked at off the wall is Vidal Brujan, former top prospect in the Ray system. But now with the Miami Marlins, he available in 92% of fantasy leagues. And now with Luis Arraez out over there of Miami, traded to the Padres a couple days ago here, Brujan's getting an opportunity, and he's a player as well that he has good versatility. Second, third, and short, he qualifies at on the year. No home runs, 4 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 294 average, and a 368 on base. But the last couple weeks here, no home runs, 3 RBIs, 5 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 464 average, and a 516 on base. So right now, I know he had 2-week sample, but he's red hot as Brujan. And he's getting an everyday chance, like I mentioned now, when Luis Arraez out of the picture, and he could play multiple infield positions. May 1st versus the Rockies, 0 for 2. May 2nd versus the Rockies, 0 for 1. May 3rd at Oakland, 3 for 4, an RBI, 2 stolen bases. And May 4th at Oakland, 1 for 4 with an RBI. So right now, this Marlin team, they know they're out of it. Last place, worst team in the National League. And they want to see Brujan, if he could become that player that he was supposed to be after being a top prospect in the Rays system, if he could work out for Miami. So if you need batting average, stolen bases, I think Brujan could bring that to owners this week. So that's a few hitters I looked at off the wire for week 6 of the fantasy baseball season.